Well, hello out there, and welcome to Coleman Cares podcast, where we hope to educate and empower the people. And so here we are again. And so, guess what, ladies and gentlemen? I have a gentleman with me today, and yes, that's right. A gentleman, Mr. Aaron Ruffin, the president of the board of directors for the Sickle Cell Association of South Louisiana. And I tell you, I had the privilege to be able to be in the presence of this young man just a couple of times, and it feels as if it's been a lot of times, but the last time it was amazing to be able to see just all of the work that he's doing. And so I'm going to yield to this young man, because when he tells you about his roots here in Baton Rouge and his connections, then you're going to know who he really is. That Ruffin may not be the name that you'll recognize. How are you?
I'm doing great. I'm doing great. I am so grateful to be here, that you would have me, and it's always just a blessing to be in your presence. You bring the best energy in the city by far.
Oh, wow. Oh, wow. Wow. I can drop the mic now, you all. And so tell us about your roots here in Baton Rouge. You know, it's always good to be able to tell folk where you come from, who you are, who your connections are, all
Absolutely.
of that.
Absolutely, yeah. I unfortunately can't claim to have gone to high school in Baton Rouge, unfortunately.
Forgive you. It's okay. It's okay.
But it is home. I was born here in Women's Hospital.
Wow.
So you know it's real. It's official. I'm really from here. I grew up in Atlanta, but my entire family is from here, and I would spend every summer coming back to Baton Rouge and staying with my aunt, who I'm sure many of you out there listening and folks certainly in this building know as former Councilwoman Lori Burgess.
That's right. That's right.
And it is because of her work in the community, as well as her work in the sickle cell community specifically, that I am here. I'm back and working with the Sickle Cell Association.
And so you're back. So you were in Atlanta. Talk about what you've done there and bring us up to where you are now and what it is that you're doing.
Absolutely. So, my dad was in the Army. We moved around a little bit, and once we got to Atlanta,
brat, y'all. Army brat.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah, you got to make your bed first thing every morning.
You better believe it. You better believe it. I wasn't in the Army. My mom, my dad wasn't, and we had to do that. So.
Oh yeah.
Yes, indeed.
Yeah. And so we moved around a bit, but when we got to Atlanta, my mom liked that quite a bit. And she said, "Well, I don't care where you're moving, we're staying." And so Atlanta really is where I grew up mostly, but I went to school at Brown University when it was time for my undergraduate education. Went up there and played football, got my economics degree. Won an Ivy League championship one of those years. Didn't bring my ring, didn't bring the proof, but you can look it up.
Okay.
And then after that, did Teach for America for a few years back in Atlanta. And then I went to law school. I did law school at George Washington University in D.C. And clerked in Virginia for a judge for a year after that. And then got my first job in the legal field as an attorney in New Orleans. Worked in New Orleans for a couple years, and then came on back home to be an attorney in Baton Rouge.
Wow, wow, wow. And home is where the heart is. And so we're so grateful that you've come back here. And so you mentioned your aunt, who is your, I would say, your role modelette, because that which she began with the Sickle Cell Anemia Foundation is really where you've picked that mantle up. And let me take it back just a little bit more, you listeners out there. I know that you realize that East Washington Street is now Lori Burgess, and that is because of the work the dedication that Councilwoman Lori Burgess did here in this great South Baton Rouge area. And of course, she has so many sisters until I know you all know some of them for sure. And so now here you are. You've taken that mantle and you've run with it. So talk to them about your activism, your with sickle cell, and where you are and where you want to take it to.
Absolutely. Sickle cell and the association has been a cause and organization I've been around my whole life because in addition to being councilwoman, my Aunt Lori Burgess served as the executive director of Sickle Cell for many years. So those summers, I would not just be staying with her, but during the day, I would be running around the Sickle Cell building, organizing books in the library, interacting with Sickle Cell warriors who, were adults as well as children my own age. And so I've really kind of grown up around this disease. And while I do not have the disease, I have the trait myself. And so it's been close to home my entire life.
What sickle cell is.
Yeah, so for those of you who don't know, sickle cell is a genetic blood disease, meaning that it's inherited. You are born with it. And when you think of a normal red blood cell, or what we deem as a normal red blood cell, it's oval shaped, it's round. And those warriors with sickle cell disease, many of their blood cells are, abnormally shaped, but usually shaped like a crescent moon or a sickle, hence the name. What will happen when you have sickle cell disease is those sickle-shaped cells get sticky, and as they move through your blood vessels, they get stuck together, they get clumped together, and they prevent oxygen from flowing to your critical organs, your heart, your lungs, your kidneys, your spleen. The spleen can be particularly dangerous because that creates your white blood cells, which fights off disease and compromises your immune system. One of the most common issues that we see with sickle cell warriors is that when those red blood cells clump together, they have what's called a pain crisis. And that is because oxygen is not getting to their organs or wherever oxygen is needed in the body. And while I haven't had a pain crisis, I have spoken with one of our warriors who has children. And she looked at me and she said, I've been through childbirth with no epidural. I've had a pain crisis. I'll take childbirth over pain crisis any day.
Wow.
So I imagine,
Yes.
to the degree that I can, that it's not fun. And so these things can happen suddenly, but then there are also some circumstances that we can look toward to where we know pain crises tend to happen, usually changes in temperature, increases in stress, and that including physical stress, so exercise and things like that. And so it is a common issue, particularly in the Black and brown community.
Yes.
Which is why we fight so hard for it, especially in this district.
Yes, that's right.
And while we are making progress, there's much more to be done.
And you talked about the different warriors, and that's a good way to look at it. They're definitely warring, but there's a champion who champions the sickle cell, and he was there at the activity that you had. And so the athlete who championed, and talk to them about that gentleman.
Yeah, so that's another name I suppose, or I suspect many folks around here know, and that's Ryan Clark, who is a former LSU Tiger, former Pittsburgh Steeler, NFL champion, ESPN anchor, and of course host of the Pivot podcast.
Wow.
Ryan Clark is the named chairman of our Ryan's Run 5K walk and run that we do every year, that we just had on August 23rd of 2025, and Ryan was here.
Yes.
He actually shared his story because Ryan, much like myself, has the sickle cell trait, and it really affected his football career for a few years, to the point that he didn't know if he would be able to play again. And that's just from having a pain crisis due to the trait, not living with this disease every day. And Ryan he spoke so well to the importance of, us having to make it a point to take care of our own community and invest in our own community and help solve our own community issues. And when he said that, he was referring to sickle cell disease and why he is so committed to this disease. And not necessarily finding a cure, because some cures are coming out, but eliminating the stigma, as well as the growth of the disease in our community.
Yes, yes. And both of you gentlemen are appreciated because you return home. You return home to give back and to help others. And knowledge is power, for sure. And so just so grateful for that. The foundation here and Sickle Cell Month and all of that. Talk to us about that.
Oh, I'd love to.
He gets excited, you all, every time. You think he's just an attorney. I think he's a medical doctor. But we're going to see. We're going to look for the proof. We'll look for that proof. Yes.
No, you don't want me operating on you by any means. But I know what I know about this, and this is a great time for this particular discussion because September is Sickle Cell Awareness Month. So this is the time where we really try to push awareness in the community about the disease, how it's affecting people, and what they can do to get involved and try to create a change around the narrative of sickle cell disease. Like I said, we just had our Ryan's Run Walk 5K. We had another walk and run that we hosted with the 100 Black Men of Lafayette. I want to say that was last weekend. There was another walk and run here in Baton Rouge that same weekend in honor of a young man named Nicholas who passed a couple years ago. His mom puts it on. And I heard that one was great. I was in Lafayette for it, but I heard that one was awesome as well. And there will be a blood drive as well next week in New Orleans. So, we got some things going on in the community with some community organizations that we're partnering with to raise the awareness about the disease. Because, like I said before, it affects primarily Black folks and brown folks. Granted, anyone can have the disease, but it's mostly our community. And with Louisiana being one of the states in the nation that has such a high Black population, it affects our state more than many other states. Wow. I think right now it's something around 3,000 people in Louisiana living with the disease. 80 babies, the numbers are saying, every year in Louisiana are born with the disease. And it's something that people aren't as aware of as some other very serious diseases and ailments like cystic fibrosis. But what we don't realize is more people in America have sickle cell disease than cystic fibrosis. And so it's affecting more of us, and it's we're happy to come and talk to anyone who will listen about it.
Yes, they had better listen. They had better listen, and we're so grateful to have you here today to share. And I like the tone in which you share. And so I'm sure there's some big words, some sophisticated words that could be used, but that's not where we need to be when we're trying to get the people to understand Black, brown, blue, green, white, everybody, to really understand about the disease there. And I appreciate you and how you move. And I tell you, I have to give a shout out to your mom, because I believe there's two things she knows. She believes that you can walk on water, but the other thing she knows is that you have your own mind as you move. Those were two things she shared with me, and so grateful for that, and grateful for you being back here in Baton Rouge and to be able to grab that mantle and go on. And so you are also the director of the Region 5 of the National Bar Association. And see, what I see is you're talking about a connection here, the Bar Association, Sickle, your knowledge with law and with the Sickle Cell Foundation, and then out here with educating folk, and all of that just coming together and being of some good use. So talk to us about that, the director of Region 5 there.
I love this. Is another organization I love very much. So the National Bar Association supports Black attorneys nationwide. It started in 1925 because the American Bar Association, which is the more commonly known attorney support group, was not admitting Black attorneys. And so we started our own thing.
Yes.
I am the director of Region 5, which means I help them with that mission in the states of Texas, Louisiana, and Mississippi specifically. And that work can literally be anything, from trying to figure out how we can. I was just talking to an attorney today about a particular conference he's trying to get access to, and we're trying to see how we can get him in, or talking to another attorney about his cover letters or his resumes and how we can adjust that and make that look the way it should. Or even, being an information broker and connecting organizations across state lines, or organizations in different states about things that are happening, like the young man in Mississippi that hung, or the state representative in Texas who got locked inside of the state capitol, and talking to those organizations about, well, what are we going to do? What are we going to say? Are we going to say something at all?
Yes.
Right? What's the best course of action as the legal minds in these states that, on some level we understand people are going to turn to for direction? And so I don't claim to have the answers, but I am happy to connect the people who do.
Who do. And I tell you, I always say that you young people, you all have the answers. You all and younger. I even tell the children, I went to the dentist, and that grinding and that, it just makes you want to get up out that chair. And I told my dentist, I said, I know that there's a kid out there that's going to really come up with something where I won't have to go through this, or no one else will eventually. And I say that to say, that's why I love young people, because it's so much on the inside of you all, and sometimes those of us that are not so young, we don't know how to grasp that, understand that, and so a lot of time the young folk just lean back. They just lean back to say, well, you all know it all. I'm going to lean back till you call on me, till you need me. But I'm glad you're not doing that, but you're about the business of getting that word out there. And then even going a little deeper, because our children, we've got to be able to have conversations with them so that they can understand sickle cell at an early age. And children, once they get a grip on something, they will be the mouthpiece for that which needs to be. And so that is excellent that you're able to connect with those attorneys and then take a look at what's happening all around, and then being proactive in a lot of instances instead of reactive.
Absolutely. It's interesting you use that term lean back, because I think about the legacy of my Aunt Lori, and even when I spoke about her at her services, she was always someone who leaned forward, who leaned in, and it's never really been a question in my mind about whether that's how you should handle something or not. I understand that the differences between generations can create some friction.
Yes.
And you don't want to turn people off or run people away. But I think that if we can get on one accord about the goal that we're working towards, which is a community that we all want to live in, that we're proud to live in, that we're proud to be a part of, that keeps us healthy and happy and safe and secure, that has opportunity for us. I think if we can keep that in front of us, then a lot of those differences, in my experience, disappear.
That's it.
Because while I may understand that, I think this is the best way to go, and maybe you think this is the best way to handle it, because I trust that you want to go where I want to go, I'm willing to listen to what you have to say.
There you go. Yes.
And if you give me the same trust, you'll listen to me, and we can usually find something in the middle that'll work for everybody.
That's right. A little respectful, happy median there. And all of that you just explained is life, good life. And that's all that we ought to all be looking forward to. Just good living, good living. And so that is of utmost. And so what is it that you can say out here to our listening audience, how they can help, how they can help with this, with your organization?
So I would direct everyone to scasl.org. That stands for the Sickle Cell Association of South Louisiana. We have our programs on there, but of course we've got that big red donate button. Donations are the most immediate way that people can help because it funds a lot of our initiatives and programs that are ongoing that can reach folks that individuals can't. That is the strength of an organization. And so in helping fund our organization, you are multiplying your impact. Your single dollar goes a lot further. But I understand that not everybody has the funds to donate, and that's okay too. On our website, we always post our events. On our Instagram, we're always posting our events. Like, subscribe, follow us, show up at our events, volunteer. Because we are always looking for help.
Yes, yes.
And your time is valuable as well. Your conversation is valuable as well. So I encourage you, if you can't show up, if you can't donate, just keep the conversation going. You know, everybody is on their phones, everybody's on the internet all the time, right? And we're talking about something, whether it be what's going on with Cardi B and her new album and her new boyfriend, or what's going on in football right now. I'm who that until they put me in the ground, man. But football's hard to talk about right now, right? In those conversations, find some time to talk about sickle cell and educate yourself, right? And right there on your phone is the internet that's got a plethora of information. We've got information on our website. And I think the more that people talk about it, the more traction it'll get and the more people that will care. And that's really what we want more than anything, is we want more people who care.
And you know, I have to say, you know, sometimes we may say what we don't have, but everybody may not be able to give at that same level. But you know what? Everybody can give something. And so I'm going to have to just appeal to the people out here, you know. Mr. Ruffin has told you, you don't have to if you don't have it, but I know you have it. That's one thing I know is in our communities, and that is we have it. And know what we do? We put it where it means the most. And I want you all to consider real well to make a donation to the Sickle Cell Foundation. And he did give you that website there, www.scasl.org. And then if you're not computer savvy, and that's okay, I can guarantee you can find someone that can really, do it for you. You know how it is when you really want to do something, you get it done. And so no amount is too small, you all, and you've got to make sure that that's what you've embraced this, because it has embraced brown and black folk, and so we need to embrace it and see the importance of it, and then become a monthly contributor, become an annual contributor like many of the other organizations out there. And so we're just so grateful for you to be here. And is there anything else that you want to tell Baton Rouge?
Yeah, I just want to underscore what you said, Councilwoman Coleman, is, again, we love your time, we love your conversation, but the dollars are the ones that will multiply and have the greatest effect. And again, if you don't have it, you have a network, and somebody in that network has it. You likely go to church, and that church can take up a special collection.
There you go.
That church has volunteers and things of the like, and or somebody in that church knows someone. And the reality of it is, it's not empty giving. The sickle cell disease affects, I think it's now 1 out of every 13 black children are born with it. 1 out of every 4 black people have the trait. So this disease is affecting somebody you know.
Yes, indeed.
And it's likely somebody in the building that you're with or the building that you walk into every day. And I know it would mean the world to them too if you could donate to this disease and change the narrative around it. So again, I'm so grateful to be here, and I'm so grateful to speak with any of y'all. My personal email is scaslchair@gmail.com. I'm happy to talk to anyone if you want to figure out how to coordinate some sort of event, some sort of blood drive. If you just want to donate your time or something in kind, or find a way to generate a scholarship or become a monthly donor, whatever it is that you want to do to change the narrative around this disease, email me. I'm happy to help out.
And then this is a good opportunity for us to teach our children about giving. And they'll do it. They will give their pennies, their nickels, their dimes. And, well, I guess nowadays children are getting dollars and $5 and more. But it's a good opportunity for us to teach our children about the importance of giving and not just receiving. Another thing that I find, Mr. Ruffin, is that around Thanksgiving, we become thankful. Around Christmas, we give. And so that's coming up. So maybe we need to see exactly what it is that we can do with our children, as you mentioned, in the churches or in the schools, have some sort of activity that they can do, because every little bit helps. And see, I have done my giving, so I know he's not going to let me get away with next year of giving or whatever. And so I just want to call out to all of you out there to please, please, unselfishly donate to this worthy cause. And again, I appreciate you being here. You want to give a shout out to anyone?
Oh, man. I just want to give a shout out to the organization, everyone who works on it, the entire board and staff for all the work that you do, man. Y'all are amazing. I also have to give a shout out to my family.
Yeah, you want to stay in it.
Right,
yes,
yeah,
yes.
the outstanding women of the Burgess and Coates families, man. Y'all are the reason why I'm here and doing this work. So thank you all of them. And also I do have to, in true fashion, give a shout out to my fraternity, Phi Beta Sigma. You guys are great. And they also have been a great support to our organization for many years, as well as our sisters of Zeta Phi Beta. So thank you so much for everything you do.
Well, you've heard it, and so you've got all the information and the challenge, Baton Rouge, and especially the districts. Yeah, I know you all thought I was going to say especially District 10, but this is bigger than 10. And so remember, you can always count on Coleman, and we're so grateful for having you.
Thank you so much.